My husband cheated and blames it on my infertility. Hey, so. I don't even know how I can start all this. I never talked about this with anyone besides my family, but I feel like I have to take this out of my chest. Obviously this is a Thronawi account. Normally I just use this site for more pleasant reasons, but today I need to talk about it with someone. Okuk, to start. Me, 36F, and my husband, who I'll call Joe, 39M, are married for 23 years. My first boyfriend, my first everything, almost 17 together, 6 actually married. Our story together is pretty long. We know each other for basically our whole life. Almost next door neighbors. Our mothers were relatively good friends. We did go to the same school at one point. We shared some friends in common, but we weren't best friends or something, we were just normal acquaintances, but things started to change when I was 16. I became friends with his younger sister and started hang out more in their place. Long story short, we started dating. It was, to say the least, a rough start. I was a high schooler and he was in his first year on MIT, but somehow we made it work. When I was 18, I got pregnant with our only daughter, Emma, now 15F. Even though she wasn't exactly what I wanted at the time, but Emma is and will always be the best thing that ever happened to me. The pregnancy was hard on me, she was a premature newborn, and I almost didn't make it. After birth, the doctor recommended us to stop having kids. Infertility is something almost expected in the women of my family. My younger sister had to do IVF to have her baby girl. My oldest took 10 years to finally get pregnant with her boy, and to make things better my menstrual cycle was basically a mess. Years later, I started my own small business. He worked as engineer and everything was going great again. Until Joe's little sister, Kayla, had her own baby girl, Suzanne Elizabeth, surname. I'll put her real name here soon, I'll see later why. Who we call regularly Susie. After Susie was born, it seems like some crazy parental instinct kicked in on Joe. Don't get me wrong, even with all his problems Joe was always a good father, but for some reason he clicked more with Susie than he did with his own daughter. Everywhere that we did go with her. This was years ago, when both girls are still little, and someone says, "Oh, how it's being for you two being parents of 2 little girls. I get crazy just with one." And he would always say, "Oh, we are doing great," and this always let me awkward. Kayla is Joe's younger sister and they two were always close, almost like gum with each other. Kayla got pregnant when she was 13. She was dumped by Susie's dad and this made Joe furious. He treated to go after the boy with a rifle if he didn't marry Kayla or didn't man up and take care of his kid. This didn't do a thing. The deadbeat moved out of the state and now, for what I know, it's at least paying child support, but as I said, he was too overprotective over his sister. One thing that always bothered me was that he always treated Susie better than he ever did to Emma. Always gave her better presents. Always paid for her birthdays, clothes. One thing that stick with me permanently was the fact when Susie was 6 and Emma was 8 he gave the Emma's princess dress to Susie. He bought that dress to Emma for a costume party but in last minute decided to give our daughter dress to his niece because of her birthday and how he said, "Susie need it more. Rent one would be too hard for Kay right now. I'll buy Emma another one." I don't want to be bitter or anything but the girl still had a father and a mother. Why she didn't ask for the bio dad buy some costume? I don't know why but this stayed with me. He always prioritized her instead of Emma. "Oh, Susie needs this. Oh, I need to buy Susie a new sneakers. Susie got an A on this and Emma got a D. I don't know what to do. Susie got another medal on school. Susie is the best student of the class this year." It was always Susie on his mouth, never Emma. 6 years ago we decided to finally officially tie up the knot. It was a simple occasion, just family. We didn't had a honeymoon but it was alright for me, we are parents and too old for that crap I thought. After the wedding, he comes to me and said that he wants to adopt. He says that a coworker of his got pregnant and wants to put it up for adoption after birth. I said that I agreed. We couldn't have more bio kids and Emma was going to be in college in some years. I thought that one more kid would let the house more alive. We are having problems. He slept in work. Later I would know it was bullshit. And some nights didn't even go home, so I thought I knew child maybe was the key. After some weeks I discovered that the kid wasn't just of a coworker, it was his. His mom opened the game after he had a conversation with her about what he should do. She said to him to be honest but he didn't, so he did it in his place. We split. Some weeks later, he comes begging for forgiveness that he loves and it was a mistake. I forgive him, I hate myself. I do, but I love him and I feel like I always will. We get back together, his mistress gave us the baby, he names it Suzanne Elizabeth, surname. He calls it Susie. He practically ignores our daughter even more over his untouchable niece and new baby. Every time I have a argument over this he says he only cheated on me because he wanted a kid and I couldn't give him other one. Sometimes I think it's my fault this happened. The girl calls me, Mama, so I just played along. I don't think I can divorce him, I love him. Sometimes I feel like I love him more than I love anything in this world. What should I do? I want to attend a counseling to try make things better. I'm sorry about all this, I just think that I needed to talk about this with someone. Sorry any mistake, I'm just too nervous. My sisters say to forgive and forget but it's being hard. I am sorry. He's a goddamned monster. You could have adopted if he was so desperate to be a parent again. What he did was horrible. You have every right to leave him. I would have left him. You sound insanely codependent on him, and he sounds like he takes advantage of the fact that you both know you won't leave. You should go to individual therapy if nothing else so you can figure yourself out. This is one of the worst stories I've ever read. You need to learn about narcissistic abuse post haste. Not only is he using and abusing you, but he is harming your daughters with triangulation. Here is their motto. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, Darvo. What he did to you is not your fault. Please seek counseling for yourself so you can protect your children. How are you 36 but have been married 23 years? And you were with your ex for 17? The story is kinda hard to follow. You need to leave your husband. First he's a shitty father, then he cheats and gets the girls pregnant, to name the baby his niece's name, which is bizarre. Why are you even with this garbage? Why didn't you stick up for your daughter? You let your husband tramp all over her with blatant favoritism with a niece and now oh here's a new kid I had with another woman but it's all your fault I cheated so now you take care of her and we'll all be happy. Oh except my actual daughter I had with you screw her. Your daughter is going to need therapy for not only her dad blatantly ignoring her but for her resentment towards you for being a doormat and not showing any care how she was treated. He came crawling back because he needed someone to raise that child. Look at how he treats your daughter and be the example you want her to see instead of a doormat to a cheat. I haven't read this, but fuck your husband. I believe that you should do what better for your daughter. I know you love him and it's hard to let go of him but you need to do it for yourself and for your daughter. He doesn't love you or his daughter. If he did he would never cheat on you. And if he loves his daughter he won't treat her that poorly. Please take your daughter and go. Let the bitch he fucked raise his kid. Your daughter doesn't deserve to grow up in this toxic environment. My fiancé unexpectedly took in his younger sister. What do I do? Obligatory on mobile, too long did not read. At the bottom. So, my fiancé and I are the same age both early 20s, dating 2 years, best friends before that for 4, and his little sister, Annie, fake names for privacy, will be coming to live with us in a few days. Annie is 13. Their dad passed away 2 years ago, and their mom has recently decided she didn't want to be a parent anymore and basically if my fiancé didn't take her in, she would have gone into the system, as the only relative, an aunt, who could have possibly taken her had a lot of health issues, mental and physical, and likely wouldn't be able to take care of Annie. So, she's coming to live with us, and I have no idea what to do so I'm on Reddit asking a bunch of strangers. My fiancé's parents were abusive, dad, and neglectful, mom. So my fiancé and his sister are very close, and he's sort of always been her protector. Abuse stopped a couple years ago when their dad died, but their mom is still a pretty absent parent. My fiancé does a lot of things for her, and is basically her third parent, just for some context. I don't know what to do. I love my fiancé, of course he should take her in, but I am decidedly child-free and would hate being a mother. My fiancé does not expect me to parent her, just be friendly and kind etc. but I'll still end up with some parental-type responsibilities, and I know it would make me miserable. My fiancé is my favorite person and I love him to bits, so I would really appreciate some advice on how to both support my fiancé and make sure his sister gets the care, attention and love she deserves, while also making sure I don't end up resentful or miserable. We just found out yesterday, so I've booked in to see a therapist by myself, and we'll be getting one for my fiancé's sister too, and plan to do a few group therapy sessions too to help adjust to the huge changes in all of our lives. It's really important to me that we both make her feel welcome and loved and wanted, but I'm really worried I'll get frustrated by having parental-like responsibilities that I never wanted, and that it will strain my relationship with my fiancé, or that I could inadvertently make her feel like I resent her or something. I feel like my fiancé and I will need to have a discussion about what I'm not expected to do, but this is happening very fast and I don't even know where to start. I'm also worried about how caring for a 13-year-old will affect our relationship, the shared life plans we'd made, etc. And it sounds really selfish and is, but I am also worried about how it will affect our sex life. I don't really know how to talk to my fiancé about any of that, because I'm not very good with words and I don't want him to think that I don't want him to take her in or something. I also have no idea what to do when she gets here. How do you act towards a kid whose mom basically tossed her out like trash and now had to live with her brother and his fiancé you don't know super well? Our apartment isn't very big, but we have a bedroom for her to decorate. Should I buy the basics, bedding etc., now or wait and let her choose? It has pillows and we have a spare blanket, but it's very plain, and just doesn't look like any effort was put into it. It might be nicer if she comes home to a nicely made up bed, like white bedding, something neutral? Or would she want to pick out her own? She can decorate it however she wants later, so IDK how important the bedding is. TLDR, my early 20s fiancé's 13-year sister is coming to live with us permanently and I'm struggling to figure out how to establish boundaries about my role of parental responsibility as a person who never wanted kids and would hate being a parent. I'm worried about how this huge, unexpected change will affect our relationship and our life plans, and am seeking advice on those things and also how to learn to parent a 13-year kid in 2 days. Rip me. I've booked therapy for me and also the sister individually and group for the 3 of us. You've booked therapy sessions which will help, and you and your fiancé sound like wonderful people who are showing up for his sister when she needs both your help. You will work through your stuff in therapy. A trusted adult role. Think, the cool aunt. Might be a way to frame all this to take some pressure off yourself. Get it? You don't have to be her mom. She's not your kid, she's your future sister-in-law. Please take deep breaths. You have a huge heart and I think this girl is lucky to be joining your lil home. Resentment thoughts, worrying about stuff, is perfectly natural. This will be a big change. Take it all one day at a time. Give therapy time, be gentle with yourself. I am grateful to have read your post. You give me hope. Thank you for sharing this here, orange heart. Your heart is in the right place here and that is the biggest and most important part. Good call on getting into therapy, I'm sure that will help a lot. I don't think there's any magic solution here. This is a tough and complicated situation for all of you. Keep communication open and honest with your partner so you can prevent resentment from building on either side. And at 13 she's probably not looking for you to be her mom, but you can probably help her a lot by being her friend right now. Also, maybe get her a pretty journal. They have lovely ones on Amazon. She's probably dealing with a lot of emotions RN, and something special that can help her sort them out might be helpful. See how it goes. Give her a couple months to get acclimated, and then see if this is a life you want to continue living. Don't try to make a decision now. See what happens. Decide then. You are still child-free, she is 13, not a baby or a small child. To put it in perspective, in 5 years she graduating high school. With all of the shit she has been through she's probably very mature for her age and doesn't want to be babied. Just be a friend to her and maybe just spend time with her like she is your younger sister. Which she essentially is, because when you and your fiancé get married she will be your sister-in-law. Most 13-year-olds need guidance more than taken care of. If you aren't expected to fill a parenting role, take the opportunity to be the big sister. She will be your kid's sister, not your kid. You just need the time to process your role. Don't feel bad. Help the 13-year-old that short distance to the finish line. You won't regret. This girl is lucky to have such a good brother and by extension you. It really shows his character to take her in like that. Treat her like you always have. Have a family meeting and figure it all out together. It will take time to adjust, but it will be okay. You guys are doing a wonderful thing for her. Grab a few things for the room to welcome her, but take her shopping and let her pick a few things to make it her own. She is probably feeling a lot of the same things you are feeling too. Don't get married young. You are both going to change a lot. Live your life. This is a 13-year-old that has been dealing with a neglectful parent her whole life. I guarantee she's pretty self-sufficient. Your parental responsibilities will most likely just entail not being a bitch to her, and occasionally having to drive her somewhere. You won't be changing diapers, you won't have to fix and feed her all her meals, she won't need constant supervision. If you can't handle that without becoming resentful, that's pathetic. Sounds like the therapy is clearly needed. If you love your fiancé, this should be easy for you. I, 25F, dumped my boyfriend, 26M, for mention his ex-GD. I know the title itself sounds like I'm completely in the wrong, but hear me out. My boyfriend and I started a relationship out of the blue. We have known each other our whole lives, but we didn't hang out until a party that our mutual friend was hosting. We immediately connected, fell pretty hard for each other and started dating. Beforehand I didn't really want to be in a relationship and he had just broken up with his ex-girlfriend 2 months before our dating. But there wasn't really a reason for us not to take what we had serious since both of us developed feelings very fast. Since day one, he told me that he would need time to get 100% over her. I gave him time. I wasn't really completely comfortable with being with someone who still somewhat has issues with his past relationship, but I didn't want to be judgy Nancy, so whatever. He talked about her every single day for 3, almost 4 months until I lost my shit and we broke up the first time. Our first breakup was over him comparing me to her almost every day, telling me stories about both her and their relationship, even though after a while, I told him I wasn't comfortable anymore. He ignored my discomfort and kept doing it, until I realized they were still talking and I found messages where he told her he still loves her and that he misses her. I broke up with him over this. Mind you, they broke up because of the pandemic, since it was a long-distance relationship. After a while, we made up since he realized what he was doing was completely wrong and that he shouldn't be talking to her at all nor about her, because it's insensitive and disrespectful. Fast forward. A couple of days ago, he started talking about her again, almost daily, just some random facts about her and their relationship, despite promising me that he will never mention her again. The last straw for me was when we were laying in bed and cuddling and he basically compared me with her again, told me how he didn't cheat on her and he would never cheat on me, and how what we have is almost the same as what they had before. I lost my shit and I dumped him over this. His explanation is that he wanted to tell me how special this is what we have and since he loved her so much and didn't cheat on her, that it is the same with me. I honestly don't know what to do at this point because I'm seriously hurt for not being hurt again and disrespected by mentioning someone who made us break up the first time. What should I do? Too long did not read. I dumped my boyfriend over mentioning his ex-girlfriend while cuddling. Yeah, he's definitely not over her yet and you did the right thing. Yeah, he's nowhere near dating stage and it's a pity he wasted your time so much just because he wanted someone to use to get over her. Don't be tempted to go back to him again if he gives you the same line about promising not to mention her. Because not mentioning her and not loving her are two completely different things. My advice? Block him completely and move on. He is not boyfriend material at the moment, so don't waste your life waiting for him. Chances are when he does finally get over her and fall for someone, it won't be you anyway. Rebounds rarely last. What should you do? Nothing. You've already done the necessary task, which was getting out of that relationship. Girl, what? He texted someone else that he loved them while with you. Read the writing on the wall. You are his rebound and he would get back with his ex in a heartbeat or break up with you for someone else. Lose his number, block him and keep it moving. This boy is just playing you cause he can't cope with being alone and you are worth significant other much more than that. You're completely in the right to dump him. Probably should have done it way earlier, really. What he's doing is insanely disrespectful and the worst thing is that he doesn't even realize. You tried, you broke up before, he promised to be better, he didn't. You did what you could. He's shown that he's gonna keep up making comparisons. It's time to move on. If he was messaging her telling her he loves and misses her while he was with you, then he actually did cheat on you, with her. Emotionally. Don't believe a word he says, and stay broken up. You've made a good choice to stay away. You did the best thing you could. Good call. What should I do? Keep your resolve, you did the right thing. I, 29F. Feel like my mom, 57, is trying to guilt-trip me into giving her a kidney. My mom has been sick my entire life. She had gestational diabetes that turned into full-blown diabetes, end-stage renal failure and a bunch of other things. A number of years ago she received a kidney that was rejected about a year ago. Ever since I had my daughter, she's been pushing me to answer her on donating a kidney so she can get one in return. If I donate one, she gets one. Pregnancy was difficult on me and I'm still trying to decide if I want one more. In fact, ever since I had my daughter I have been having a crippling fear of death and a near-crippling existential crisis daily. Problem is my mom smokes and has for 40+ years and has a host of other problems induced by poor life choices as a result of unresolved trauma and drug use. I don't want to put my body through the trauma of organ donation knowing her body may reject that organ, too, again only for her to receive another 5 years. I want to live as long a life as possible for my daughter. Furthermore, since hypertension runs in my family, I am afraid I will one day need an organ transplant. The American medical system is less than reliable and I do not anticipate that, should that time ever come, that I will get the help I may need. Now my mom is texting me how the kidney transplant list is 10–12 years long and however will she be there for her granddaughter if she doesn't get a new kidney? Even if she were to get a new kidney, I don't expect her lifestyle choices to change. Honestly, my fear is I will put my body through this organ donation and she will die from lung cancer or her body will be unable to handle the trauma of another transplant. And, honestly, I can't put myself through that kind of trauma. I hate to put it this way but I feel like my mom squandered her first transplant. She made 0 life changes, still smoked, ate terribly, never exercised really. I fear going through with this will do the same thing and that I will not be able to go through with this transplant without stipulations, and one she cannot keep. Furthermore, I feel that if I would not donate of my own free will I would be doing it out of obligation and would be resentful because of my mom would not change her lifestyle. But I fear if I tell her no she will be resentful of me. I don't know what to do or what to say. Edit. Some of you coming out of the woodwork calling me a bad person really need some serious therapy. Y'all projecting really hard. Speak to your doctor. Tell them all of this and they can say you're incompatible. Incompatibility isn't just if you're not physically a match, it can be mental health too. Call the doctors and explain that your mom is pressuring you but you don't want to give a kidney. They will not allow donations from anyone who is being coerced or who isn't freely willing to part with their organs, so they will 100% know you are not a donation candidate. They will be able to help you figure out what to tell your mom. Unfortunately they deal with this a lot. I promise you are not the first person in this situation. I once thought about donating a kidney to a friend and before I even got to the stage of getting a blood sample to test for a match, I had a 30-minute conversation with a donation coordinator who was making sure that I understood what the process was, seeing if I was in a financially and mentally stable position, and that I was doing it of my own free will. Now my mom is texting me how the kidney transplant list is 10–12 years long and however will she be there for her granddaughter if she doesn't get a new kidney? Why not tell her the same thing? Donating a kidney is a huge risk to one's health. What if your sole kidney got damaged while your daughter is still a child? Don't feel guilty about saying no. You have a daughter to think about and your concerns are valid. I doubt a doctor will do a second transplant given her life choices and so many other people whom need a kidney. That is why she is down on the list. She blew her chance and will have to stay on dialysis. You don't owe her a kidney. No is a full sentence. I would say, Mom, I need to be there for my daughter and can't undergo a big surgery like that. I'm sorry for what you're going through but I can't help in the way you want me to. She is experiencing natural consequences of her choices. It's not your fault. Here's what you do. Say you'll go to get tested to see if you're a match. Then you tell the doctor that she's trying to force you into giving her a kidney and the doctor will instantly put down that you're not a match, problem solved. 'Cause what she's doing is illegal. I work in a doctor's office and I've seen this happen and read the reports from the doctor saying that the patient is being forced so they're instantly declared to not match and be unable to donate. They legally can't tell anyone why you're not a match so you'll be 100% in the clear. Tell her that while you love her, if forced to choose between your daughter having a mom or a grandma, you'd choose mom every time. Yeah, grandparents can be cool, but a kid is far less likely to suffer for lack of a grandparent than for lack of a parent. I would tell her no, tell her at this point you would not put your body through that. Tell her with a history of kidney disease you are very concerned your own kidneys might not be healthy your entire life or your daughter might need one and you would only consider a donation for your child. Then tell her you love her and you will always be there for her but you will not be giving her a kidney.